How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video. We have quite a bit of news to get through today, from Gamers' lawsuit to the bit of news from the CMA and their decisioning process, which pretty much confirms that the deal is going to go through. And of course, we have other news regarding the whole Fallout 76 and Starfield drama, with Fallout 76 having a higher rating on Steam. And we do finally have proof why, because I've now seen a number of these shown. I'm only going to show one on this video, and if anyone really cares, they can go and search for it. But at the end of the day, there are reasons, and we're going to get into it, because the ponies just won't give up, because they are so salty that Starfield is not on their precious box. And because it's not on their precious box, they have to do everything they can to try and undermine the greatness that is Starfield. But first thing first, we're going to start off with this amazing article here. Well, it's not an article, it's a post. And of course, I want to give a shout out to Brendan Lawrence. Thank you very much for tagging me on this. I will always shout out those who tag me, because I appreciate the support and I appreciate the heads up. As you can see here, a judge has denied a request made by gamers accusing Florian Mueller of being paid by Microsoft to sway public opinion on the Microsoft Activision Blizzard account. Now, just because this dude actually worked for Microsoft in the past, did some contract work for them, apparently he was being paid by Microsoft to push this through. He was very prolific in his coverage of the Activision Blizzard case, and honestly, he's actually writing a book now to actually, from what I heard, to actually commemorate this whole thing. It's been really good for him, for his publicity, for his stature, and it's really helped him a long way. You know, there's usually that one case or that one situation that really boosts you into stardom. For him, it was this one, and I wish him more success. But, you know, the CMA also has someone who worked for Sony PlayStation, right? He's at the head, you know, quite high up in the CMA, who was able to make the decision to block the original decision. A person who worked for Sony. But, you know, the PlayStation gamers are not taking him to court for that decision. Why not? That's a true act of conflict of interest, right? How can someone like that be in charge of any decision making? But, you know, this was like 10, 15 years ago, so who cares? But, you know, Florian did some work in 2008, I think it was. We're talking 15 years ago. It's a problem with Florian, but oh no, it's not a problem for the PlayStation guy, because it supports their agenda. What a sad bunch of ponies, right? Proper ponies. And I'm happy that for what, the fourth or fifth time, the courts have now just bitch slapped these ponies back into their cage and back into their, you know, places. Note, this is coming from a PlayStation fanboy lawsuit trying to stop the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Now, this actually stems quite far back to NeoGAF, and there's actually a whole drama with that, where Peruliles apparently accused him of being a certain King Roberts or something it was, and apparently Florian was using a alt account to try and push agendas through. It was never proven. And finally, when Florian had enough and decided, right, I'm going to press legal charges against all of you that accused me, there was 3 in particular, NeoGAF and the 2 others, for defamation, because that's exactly what this is. And I think, you know, Florian should now turn the tables and actually take these PlayStation fanboy gamers to court for defamation, for making false accusations, because a false accusation can go a long way. It can lead you to being cancelled, unemployable. It's a really bad thing, right? So these gamers should feel the, you know, the heat of the law down on them when they make these. There are consequences for actions. I don't care what anyone says. If you think I'm being too harsh, I'm not being harsh enough. I think Florian should go way further than that. So people can stop making stupid accusations when they're baseless. But, you know, Perules and co, they turned off Twitter, they deactivated their account, everything. They've just disappeared into nothingness. They probably created another account, but their main account, they just disappeared. They noped out. They were like, no way, man. I would chat shit. There's so much shit that I'm chatting that my asshole won't even stop coming out with that shit. You know, my mouth isn't enough for that bullshit to actually compensate. My butthole is now talking with the amount of shit that comes out of my mouth. And so he actually just, or she, I don't know if it's a he or she, noped out of existence because Florian decided to press charges for defamation. If you were innocent and you had your concrete proof, answer me this one question. Just this one question, chat, in the comment section below. If you were innocent, why would you run? What have you got to hide? Clearly, this whole agenda against Florian was anti-Pony, was basically anti-Microsoft. Ponies doing what they can to discredit a dude who was just doing stuff to get, publicity. That's it. And NeoGaf's head was like, well, I didn't do anything. Why are you suing me? Don't come to me. And Florian said, look, I want you to publicly apologize to me, and then I'll drop it against you. And so NeoGaf's boss was like, yeah, I'll apologize. Because he doesn't want to get sued. He doesn't want any legal charges brought against him. But the other two, they just noped out, boy. Noped out. They noped out. Chicken shits, that's what I say. I mean, if you're going to say something, at least have the balls to stand behind it, right? And clearly, this pony had none of them. Maybe they don't actually have any. As we can see here, Stephen Totillo, odd Microsoft Activision side drama. A judge has denied a request by lawyers in so-called gamer suit to make Microsoft cough up any correspondence with prolific merger tweeter Florian Mueller. I never tweeted for hire, Mueller tells me. And, he's always stuck by that. And he's never hid the fact that he did work for Microsoft in the past. Never, ever hid. Like, he's been pretty good with the whole coverage. It's actually been something that I've relied on when I'm making my videos, especially for the times where I've not been able to make the notes because I'm working during the day. So it's to say that he was actually being paid by Microsoft, because apparently everyone that supports Microsoft, even those that are content creators or influencers on Twitter, apparently every single one of them is being paid by Microsoft. But if you're following, Sony PlayStation, nah, man, you don't get paid. We don't get paid by them. We don't need to get paid. Twats. Okay, so we come to this one over here, an update on Microsoft ABK. Some third parties considered that the new deal with the CMA wasn't a new relevant merger. Basically, if it's not a new relevant merger, then the original decision with the final verdict that was already blocked should stand. But the CMA has concluded that by switching the streaming rights from Microsoft to Ubisoft, that is enough to make it a new relevant merger, because the context, the structure has entirely changed. And as it says here, in this case, however, the CMA notes that there are significant differences between the merger and the first proposed merger, on the basis that under the merger, Microsoft will not acquire the Activision streaming rights. These rights, which the CMA considers to be important to the ability of suppliers to compete in the UK cloud gaming market for the reasons set out in the final report, will be divested prior to the completion of the merger. The CMA therefore considers it appropriate to give further consideration to the merger pursuant to Section 33(1) of the Act. For the reasons set out above, the CMA believes that it is or may be the case that arrangements are in progress or in contemplation, which, if carried into effect, will result in the creation of a relevant merger situation. On the other hand, expect this first annual compliance report about the execution of the Ubisoft agreement to be delivered by 31st March 2024, but the deal will go through on the 18th of September at the very latest. So it's pretty much a done deal. Though some companies have, some parties decided that they would try to appeal against this. I guess Sony finally reached out to them. They originally had no problems whatsoever, but now they kind of had saying, hey, this is not really that different from the original one. I think you should go back to your original decision. The CMA has basically turned around and said, sorry, we believe that this is actually a RMS, and for that reason, we're going ahead with what we believe is right, and that was their preliminary approval. So good things should come from this. So there really is nothing to worry about this closing officially. Obviously, the contracts and stuff is going to take a few months to actually get through, and they have until the end of the financial year in the UK to get it done. The 31st of March is the end of the financial year in the UK. Now we come over to some Starfield news. Now, Starfield is officially rated lower than Fallout 76. Now, we know that the game got review bombed on Metacritic by publications. We know it got review bombed by Ponies. We know it got review bombed by pretty much everyone that doesn't like Xbox. Metro, you're pretty much up there right now, buddy. You're pretty much up there. And I know you're still going at it. I just can't be bothered to report on you anymore because you really just aren't worth the time on my video anymore. Unless you come up with something drastic that I have to completely ridicule on. But you haven't actually hit that level yet. But as you can see here, Starfield is officially rated lower than Fallout 76. Now, how can that be? Well, Starfield has a 71.37% positive rating on Steam, whereas Fallout 76 has a 71.76. So it's a 0.5% higher. Now, why is this? And that is a big question, right? Why is this? Well, here is why. It turns out Starfield being review bombed on Steam. And we know this isn't an isolated incident either, because I've actually gone through a number of them and I've seen quite a few of ones like this. But it does, and I say here, it makes me happy to see so much salt over this game. Shows they want it so badly, and they can't have it, so they resort to this. The sign the game is doing just fine. You know, it's a sign. If they really want it and they can't have it, what the Ponies are going to do is result to this. And as you can see here, I mean, you've got the Red Dragon, his replying to, so what else can I say about that? But the Alpha Pony, I don't even have to call them Ponies, they're calling themselves Ponies now, because he's the Alpha Pony. I rebought the game just to leave a bad review and refunded it again. Like, how sad can you get? How sad. And look at it. Look at all these Ponies actually upvoting him. I mean, there's only 190, so it's not that much, but it's enough. It's enough. But the fact that this is sad, right? This is beyond sad. But now we can see that review bombing has also entered Steam. So the Steam review positivity charts can't be taken at face value. Metacritic can't be taken at positive value. The user rating definitely can't be taken at face value. I guess OpenCritic is the only one that doesn't allow user reviews to go into it. So they're a little more reliable because it's kind of opened the floodgates to more reviews to come in to try and balance out the idiots of no pronouns, or, you know, the other one who said, I don't like Bethesda because of their policies and their previous transgressions against a certain community, so because of that, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. I haven't played the game. I don't want to play the game. I'm just going to give it a 4 out of 10 because that is the right thing to do. And the other one, pronouns, but then goes and plays Baldur's Gate 3 and has no problems with that, right? GG, 10 out of 10 for that. But as you can see here, this Alpha Pony, I rebought the game just to leave a bad review and refunded it again. I mean, if this is not the saddest state, and PlayStation fans are supporting this, how can anyone turn around and say that there is any justification to saying that PS fans are not salty as fuck? Because they are as salty as it's going to get that they don't have Starfield. I don't know, folks. You let me know in the comment section below. I mean, how salty is this to think, to actually go in and buy the game and then refund it just so you can leave a bad review? My God, this guy, this pony is so salty. He's got salt coming out of his butthole. I guess my previous video about, Butthurt City, I guess that's where they're all congregating right now, right? All congregating around Butthurt City to come up with a new strategy, a new recipe, as they would say, to try and attack Starfield. But you know what? The more they try to attack Starfield, the more it tells me that the game is just fine. Because you don't attack a game this much if you don't want it. You only are salty about something you can't have. And in this situation, there is so much salt here that the oceans are going to dry out. I think they just need to tone it back a little bit, because at this point, it's actually it's actually sad. It's actually so pathetic that they are going to these extremes that I actually feel sorry for them, Because to be able to do something like this, you must have a serious mental health problem. And the fact that Starfield has affected these people so much to give them mental disorders, you do have to wonder, you know, at some point, when they're going to become a danger to themselves, because this is sad. And the fact that they resort to this clearly shows that their mental health is not in the right place. So if you do see a pony out there, offer your support. Offer them some mental health guidance, because they need it. Even if they don't realize it, they need it. And this over here proves it. Right, everyone? That's the video. I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.